Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
For week 2 of the NFL season, I'm Crispy Bacon, here with the Prime Oos. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Again, I can't pick. Just so everybody knows, I can't pick to save my life. I'm excited. It's been an injury-prone first 2 weeks. Let's see how week 3 goes.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week 3. And then we also have James. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm trying to figure out my record for the first 2 weeks of the season in Thursday Night Football. I think I'm 17-13. Does that sound right? How many games there are?
17-13. You might be a little short.
Right, maybe.
Oh, that's what you said.
And then we also have Big B.
What's up, guys? Been missing you guys, but work calls. I'm actually on my way to work. Thought I'd jump on for a little bit of a half hour. Probably jump off once we start doing our picks. But glad to be here. Tim, you think you're picking bad? I think I have 13 right in the first 2 weeks. So I might start having my son do them, or I might start just picking out of a hat. I don't know yet.
Yeah, there's some interesting games. We'll get to those here in a little bit. But the first topic is our one big question. There's 9 teams that are 0-2, and then except for the 49ers, the rest of them are either 1-1 or 0 or 2-0. Which is better, going 2-0 or I guess going 0-2, to make the playoffs?
Well,
anybody want to start with that one?
Go ahead. Since you made this question, B, we'll let you go ahead and run that one.
All right. So when I was kind of so my question, Chris, we kind of rephrased it, was we know 0-2 is going to be a hard to get in. So out of the 0-2 teams, is it a must win for all the 0-2 teams, or is it more of a must win for the teams that are 0-2 with the division leaders being 1-1? So they're only a game back. So, I mean, granted, we all know that I think it's like 9 to 11% of the teams that start 0-2 end up making the playoffs. So, for me, I believe that the teams that are 0-2, like the Vikings and Bears, that the division leaders are 1 game ahead of them. Lions and Packers are both 1-1. For them to stay in the race, I really think that those 0-2 teams like that is a must win for them. And especially for Minnesota, not that it's my team, but being at home for the second time in 3 weeks, if you drop another home game, you're really digging yourself a grave. So for me, for the playoff picture, yes, all 0-2 teams it's a must win for, but I think it's more important for those teams that are 0-2 with their division winners being 1-1 to stay that 1 game behind or possibly tie them if the top 2 teams lose. So I say the 0-2 teams that are 1 game back is a more of a must win for them.
I can agree with that. James, what do you think?
What was the question again? My Wi-Fi went out.
Oh.
So the question is out of the 0-2 teams. All right. So the question is out of all the 0-2 teams, we all know that this is a must win for a lot of them. But is it more important for the 0-2 teams to win that are a game behind, like the Vikings and Lions are, or Vikings and Bears are, behind the Packers and Lions, or what do you think?
Ooh, yeah, every game to me.
Did we lose James or we lose me?
No, we didn't lose you. I think we lost James. James Wi-Fi went to. I'll take over.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
I'll take over since I kind of agree with Big B, but I think it's more important for an 0-2 team in a division where the leaders are 2-0. I think it's a little more important on that line because you go 0-3. Not only is it more difficult to get into the playoffs, but now it's more difficult just to start playing for your own division. I think it's a must win for the 0-2 teams in a 2-0 division.
Right.
Because you've got teams in front of you like say we'll take my division since I can say this much like Bacon can say that my team is tied for the lead or has the lead in the division. I think you've got teams that have already made the mistake. They've already got a loss and everything like that. You need to keep the teams that are 2-0. You kind of got to keep some type of pace because the 2-0 teams have momentum. You kind of want to try to pick up their momentum. So to me, I think it's more important for the teams that are 2-0, the 0-2 in a division that they have 2-0 teams. I think it's more important there because at that point you're starting to play for the wild card instead of the division. So I think if you have aspirations to playing for the division, you have to go. I think you have to. It's for the 0-2 teams with a 2-0 division.
Did I say that wrong? I thought I think you're right, Tim. I do. If I misspoke, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think it is. I think the 0-2 teams that are in the 2-0 division, yes, it's a more of a must win for them to stay in the playoff hunt. The 0-2 teams with the 1-1 division leaders have a little bit of leeway, but yes, it's still a must win for them too. But I think
right.
0-2 in a 2-0 division is definitely a must win for those guys.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely is. You don't want to fall behind. There's so many, there's so few games actually that it's hard to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's going to be teams that will be able to win. This depends on how many games they will win.
Right.
Yeah.
Week 3 is here, but what was your thoughts on week 2?
To me, week 2 was. It seemed like I can't pick things. There was a lot of close games, a lot of games that were closer than I thought they should have been. I'm looking at that Packer Falcons game. There's no way that game should have went. That should have been that close, but then I could be wrong. And then we had 2 games that, if I'm not mistaken, went into overtime. Or did I?
Yeah, I think you're right.
But it's weird. It's starting to see that some of last year's powerhouses really aren't this year's powerhouses. It seems like a lot of those teams fell back to the pack. It's the proof, and I think J-Mac said it on Four Bros that the Giants just aren't that good of a team, and I completely agree that they should be 0-3 instead of what they are. It's been a lot of parity. It's been one of those injury-filled early parts of the season. I'm kind of hoping that kind of rectifies itself and we can get ourselves where we need to be.
James, before we get to that, what were you going to say about the 0-2 teams?
Yeah. You never want to be 0-2. I know there's certain things that can happen, like the 9-2 Chargers. I think someone in 2018 started 0-2 and ended up making the playoffs. But in your division, though, you want to be in you want to be in it, of course. So, I'd rather be the latter and just be right there in the division, depending on what happens.
I can see that. What was your thoughts on week 2?
Oh man, like Tim just mentioned, with all the injuries, it makes it lost seasons are kind of dashed already, and then the bad starts by certain teams, the young quarterbacks, some aren't playing well, some are. I was really disappointed by the Chiefs and Jaguars. I was ready for that game to be an instant classic, and it turned out to be a defensive dud. It was really, really bad. I was shocked at the Seahawks game, but it shows that the Lions have some growing up to do. The Eagles still own the Vikings. The Bengals are in a really, really bad state right now. Credit to the Falcons for doing what they did, able to hang on. The Raiders still can't play on the East Coast. The Chargers chargered. That was really great to see. LA is a 49er town. You could tell with the crowd there. And the Giants, like J-Mac said, are not a really good team. The Jets are screwed. The Broncos just know how to lose games in dramatic ways. That was fun to see. Mac Jones and the Patriots aren't really anything special. And then I feel bad for Nick Chubb. I thought I know he was going to get a good contract at the end of this season, but I hope he comes back. If not, we'll remember him for what he did. Yeah,
we will. It was a pretty bad injury that ESPN, and I'm glad they didn't want to show again. Big B, what's your thoughts on week 2?
Man, week 1 and week 2, just I think somebody said a bit about just a roller coaster of injuries. Hard to predict these games. You think this game's going to be a good one. Turns out it's not. Turns out a different game's going to be good. But yeah, it started all Thursday watching the Vikings-Eagles game. Thought the Vikings were going to get steamrolled, and it looked like it was going to start that way, but it turned out that it was a closer game than it was. Shocking to me. But yeah, the end with the Nick Chubb injury for the week, and just see how I'm glad ESPN didn't show it. I still have not watched it. I saw the still pictures, and he just looked like a backwards letter L from what I saw, and it's just heartbreaking. Hopefully his career is not over. I saw a report that the doctors are kind of giving hopes that the career is not over. They said he should be fine. It's just going to be a long recovery. But yeah, outside of that, you guys pointed out what J-Mac said. Yeah, the big teams aren't that tough. Outside of maybe Dallas. I mean, Dallas's defense right now is just rocking. I know they got a big injury this week to overcome, but it should be a good football season. That's one thing with football. I think we all can agree. 16 games. Each week, the games matter, and they're out there to fight for their team. That's why when they started talking about tanking, it's like I just can't believe anybody in the NFL is going to tank. I even locally here, Chad Greenway said that there was a game when it was tank for luck season at the end of the year. If the Vikings would have won, they would have got the first overall pick and got luck. But they went out and won, and they Chad Greenway goes, he kind of regrets it, but nobody wants to not play for their jobs, and they all knew their jobs were on the line. So that's why that's why I don't like the whole tanking game. But outside of that, week 2 interesting. Week 3 will probably be even more interesting. I can't wait to catch what I can.
Yeah, week 3 is going to be interesting. First 2 weeks were interesting. A lot of highs and lows. Your fantasy players that you've picked in your fantasy draft go down with injuries. I think I saw it was in our group chat that there's a guy who picked, I don't know, his lineup.
Everybody that got injured, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had a buddy do that. I had a buddy do that a few years ago in a fantasy keeper league. Went in and drafted. We started it, and then first 2 weeks, 3/4 of his roster was gone because of injuries. So yeah, that's why fantasy is fun to play, and And before we roll on, Chris, we spoke on it on Monday, or Sportsman on Wednesday, and I want to get Tim's thoughts. Kind of, there's been a lot of hate going in sports in the crowd via social media towards the players. Madison here was getting threats and stuff, and even college teams are getting hate mail from fans because they dropped a ball or their team lost because of they feel their mistakes. So, James, I know we covered it. Chris, we covered it as sportsman, but I'd like to get Tim's thoughts on what should players do? Obviously, what fans should or should not do. But Madison said he's going to take it legally and get behind those screen names and find out who it was. So, Tim, what's your thoughts on the verbal abuse? I would say and physical in the stands.
I think it's kind of ridiculous. I remember back in the day when it was back when we were younger and you didn't see all that. Maybe you hear about it once in a while in Philadelphia or those tougher cities like Pittsburgh, but you don't really, or Chicago. If you got that rivalry between Chicago and Green Bay, and it always seemed like it was destined to be stupidity. But it seems like it's more and more and more and more and more. And I think I put in the comments that I think alcohol could be a big factor in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I posted in the comments, I said, I think they should breathalyze people coming into the stands. I think that's one way you're going to knock down some of that. I think it's uncalled for. You brought up Madison, and the funny thing is, and I remember I put it in our group chat about how people need to quit. This is a game, and they need to quit taking it so damn seriously, and they need to get outside and touch grass because obviously they don't get it. The funny thing is, I read Madison's Twitter page, and he posted somebody on Instagram that had done it, and I was so nice enough to contact one of the people he decided to contact Madison, and it's still there. He doesn't have that many followers, but I wasn't pleasant, and it's ridiculous. And it's just. I don't think it's called for. I don't think it's necessary. I think you get a lot of that. To me, I never when I played in high school and semi-pro, I never had this problem. I never had a problem with people from the stands, and I played in some tough areas like Flint, Michigan, and Chicago, and I didn't hear too much of that. I never heard too much of that. But it's like it. And the thing is, I think people who get tickets for these things think tickets to the shows or they pay all these big money for the things that gives them a right to spout their opinion in a negative way. We spout our opinions in a positive way, and we've got that right. And players, coaches, and owners, and all these leagues love it because they love the fact is that we as people who give this positive opinions that we actually consider it what it is. We consider it entertainment. It's when these people go and kill trees in Alabama because Auburn beat Alabama, or they go and do stupid things because it's so ingrained in their system that this is what they should do. Well, they shouldn't. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It has no place in the game, but then again, it has no place in society. But yet here we are.
Yep. No, well put, Tim. Well put. So before I go, I'm going to give my big baller because I want to describe it a little bit. So, and then you guys go on with the great show that you guys are doing. So my big baller is, some of you guys know, is it's kind of been a jinx, kind of like the crispy jinx when he said Colorado was going to beat Oregon last night. But but anyway, so I kind of threw a twist. Is not more or less I want to see, I'm going to predict who's going to have a big game. This year, I'm kind of going with the theme of I want to see what they do week in and week out. So my big baller last week was the Cowboys because I wanted to see how they rebounded from week one shutout, and I think they did pretty good. This week, I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings team as a whole because of the moves they've recently made, and I want to see them kick the turnover, start taking away the ball. So for them to win, the whole team needs to step up. They need to take the move serious that these guys are here to help, possibly to take somebody's job, but they also have to kick that turnover ratio. I think they got 9 turnovers in 2 games compared to 1 takeaway. So that's my big ballers this week is the Minnesota Vikings. Definitely want to see them see what they could do and learn from the first 2 weeks. With that being said, you guys have a good one. Tim, we'll see you on Rank 'em on Tuesday. You guys have a good day.
All right. Have a good week. Yeah, it's time for the picks. We're going to start off with the early games, starting with the Titans and the Browns. James, who you got for that one?
Well, obviously, without Nick Chubb, they brought in Kareem Hunt. Did the Browns? Sorry, I don't know why I have the Lions in my head, but Tennessee showed out well last week, somehow winning with Tannehill. I've been juggling this one, the whole week, and I guess, give me the Titans. I feel like they're going to run the ball well. They should be able to pass somewhat. The Browns are coming off that just hard-fought win, literally, on Monday. So, yeah, give me Tennessee.
Big B has Cleveland winning. Tim, who do you got?
I think if the Browns hadn't signed somebody who knows their system like Kareem Hunt, I probably would have said the Titans. But since my coin, as I so nicely brought up in our group chat, I've got the Browns because Kareem Hunt knows the system. We've also got Deshaun Watson. Maybe we're going to see a little bit more of Deshaun Watson's legs in this game. I'm still not quite sold on the Titans yet. But I'm hoping that I'm right because I don't want to see the Titans anywhere close to the top of the AFC South. But yeah, give me the Browns.
Yeah, I got Cleveland too. They kind of surprised me a little bit, going 2-0 in their first 2 games, I believe. Watson looks like he's okay. I mean, at times he looks like he's kind of faulty, but I think he'll get better. He's only played a handful of games since his suspension and all that, but I think things will get better. And you got Kareem Hunt, who played in the system, so that's a good signing for him, I think. Next up is Falcons and the Lions. Tim, who you got?
I think don't worry, James. I got the words "lines" in my mouth for this one. I don't think I like the Lions. I think the Lions game last week against the Seahawks was a fluke. And the Seahawks played. I think the Seahawks played out of their skull in that last fourth quarter, and I don't know how they got there. But I've got the Lions. I like, and I know I have this feeling. I got a premonition that James is going to take the Lions.
James, who you got? Big B has Detroit too.
Man, I wanted to pick the Lions because I want to see them show what they really can be. But man, the Falcons are in games. This is one game I'm gonna be watching. There's no doubt about it. I'm gonna go Lions, but if they lose, I'm gonna start to really question who they are this year. If too much expectations are on them, and then if that's pressuring them too much, if they already put all their effort against Kansas City but forgot about everybody else, we'll see what happens. But this should be a really good one. Maybe the Falcons have their rushing attack really do well against that Detroit defense. That's how I can see Atlanta winning, but I'm going to go Detroit.
Yeah, I'm going Detroit too. They're playing a lot better than the last previous seasons, and I think last year helped out. Them getting Campbell and all the signings they did in the previous season. So I got Detroit in this one. Falcons are tough, though. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. Another fun matchup, I think, will be is Saints and Packers. Packers' first home game of the season. Big B has the Packers in this one. James, who you got for this one?
I'm going to go Green Bay. I don't trust Derek Carr. I kind of did when he was a Raider, up and down. There were some games he showed it, some games he showed that he really couldn't play. Last week was just weird for Derek Carr. He didn't really show up too much, but he did throw some touchdown passes. That Green Bay defense has to be better, though. And Jordan Love, I'm hoping, well, mind this, but I hope he gets the love from the crowd. And being that it's his first home start, I think he'll ball out. Maybe the rushing attack will be better this time. But I'm going to go Packers, but it's going to be a really close game.
I think so too. Tim, who do you got for your pick?
I've got the Packers. I think Love. I think what's Love is like before the Thursday night game. Love was like second in passing yards in the league. That right there will give Packer fans hope. Now they just need to get the running game to come around to get to where it's going to be. But if that's the case, I'm going to be wrong about the Packers all year long. That defense, like James says, has to get better. It's there. It's getting there, but it just needs to be better.
It does. Well, this will be Love's first, well, maybe second start at home in his career. I still call him a rookie somewhat because he hasn't played all that, as a lot of games as most quarterbacks. But I'm still picking the Packers. Saints have been playing really well. Last week was a divisional matchup against Carolina, but Green Bay is a different area, and they're going to get loud, and I don't think that's going to help much. Broncos and the Dolphins. Dolphins at home. Tim, who do you got for this one?
I've got the Dolphins. Like James said earlier, the Denver Broncos find new and glorious ways of losing football games, and I think they're going to lose. They're going to start losing this game gloriously early. I think this has got a possibility of being a blowout. But then again, I said that about the Commanders Cardinals back in Week 1, and look what happened. I think the Dolphins just have too much to go against this Denver defense.
James, who you got?
I'm going Miami. I know they're without Jalen Waddle. He had a concussion from Sunday night's game, but I still think they have enough weapons there with Raheem Mostert having a great rushing attack last week. And then you still have Hill. You still have the other weapons there for Tua. And then the Dolphin defense has 7 sacks already in their first 2 games. I'm guessing the offensive line is going to get overworked. The Denver's offensive line. So I'm going to go with Tua and the Dolphins. I just don't trust the Broncos, especially on the road.
Yeah, I don't trust them either on the road. I picked Dolphins. Big B picked Dolphins too. I'm sure, it's the same reason we all have. Broncos aren't really good on the road. Yeah, you have Russell Wilson. You have Sean Payton as your coach. Sean Payton's a good coach, but I don't think he can really help much for this Broncos team, sadly. Next, we go to Big B's team, the Vikings taking on the Chargers. Big B picks the Vikings. James, who do you got for this game?
I keep picking the Chargers, and they keep letting me down, which is fine. I hate them anyway. I'm going to go – I know the Chargers, they'll be without Eckler again, and that's a huge, huge loss. I was trying to figure out if Kendricks will make his return to playing Minnesota, but I think Minnesota gets off the schneid here. And, Kendricks is out as well as J.C. Jackson. So I'm guessing, man, don't let me down, Vikings. I'm going Minnesota. I think their defense makes some plays on Herbert. And then their offense finally shows out, and Kirk Cousins throws for a lot of yards and maybe 3 touchdowns today. So I'm going to go Vikings.
Tim, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm not part of I'm part of the minority on this one. I'm going with the Chargers. It's funny. I heard a stat. What was it? Monday night? Was it Monday night's game where I heard that this is the team that has no turnovers, but yet is 0-2. You know what? How rare that is in the first two games. You have no turnovers.
Rare.
It's to see. This is the team I had winning the AFC West, and they're 0-2. This point, it's like you taking the Washington Nationals in on. It's
Yeah, on
terrible.
deck.
I've got the Chargers. I'm hoping they get off the 0-2.
Yeah, I do too, but I got the Vikings for this one. It is not a primetime game for Kirk Cousins. It's an early afternoon game. Uh, I think you should go. You should do well in this game. Uh, but who knows? We're predicting, but things can change. Uh, Patriots and the Jets battle in the AFC East. Uh, James, who do you got?
Yeah, I have to go to. Damn. This one I was kind of juggling with because, Zach Wilson against Mac Jones. Both can give good games to teams, but they won't win them ever. Now they face each other. So I'm going to go No, give me the. No, shoot. Give me the Patriots. I am
Patriots?
thinking they'll stop the run, stop the pass. The defense is good enough to do that. The Jets with Zach Wilson, they'll be facing the pressure and the boos all day. That's a tough place to play, of course, when you're really bad like Zach Wilson is. So give me the Patriots.
Tim, who do you got?
I have my pick. It's just such a to quarterbacks that are terrible. I just don't get those
Who's
two
worse
teams.
in this one? I'm just kidding.
But the thing, and here's the funny is, no, the quarters picked this one too. And I understand why the quarters picked this one because at this point I'm only picking it because of their defense at this point, and I understand the quarter. The quarter said the Jets, and I think at this point, this is going to be such a terribly low scoring game. I think this is going to be a 13-10 game, and it's just like James said, both quarterbacks are so good at giving the ball away and giving the game away that this could end up in a tie. But no, I've got the Jets, and it's just because of the defense.
Yeah. So you're picking the Jets?
Yeah, I'm picking the Jets.
I'm going the Patriots. Big B's going with the Jets with his walk. I feel like it's gonna be the Patriots. I don't like you said, both quarterbacks aren't really that good, but the Patriots quarterback seems to be a little better. Then on the other side you have, the Jets defense, which pretty much held their own in that first, game at home. If they play well at home again, I think they could probably go. I don't remember how many home games they got this year. They alternate, but 8 or 9 home wins. Hopefully that helps, in that AFC East. But I think Patriots will get this one. Bills and the Commanders. Tim, who do you got?
If Tyler Heineke, no, even if I say if Tyler Heineke was playing for the Commanders, it'd be a different story, but it won't be. We're still talking about the Buffalo Bills defense. We're still talking about the Commanders, but then again, all importantly, we're still talking about Josh Allen. I am going to make this my lock of the week, as I did in our eliminator group, and I'm going to make it the Buffalo Bills.
James, who do you got?
I can see the Commander defense making life a little hectic for Josh Allen. I can see the Commanders scoring some points, hopefully keeping up with the Bills. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go with the upset here and go with Washington.
Ooh, going with the Commanders. I'm not sure who Big B picked. I didn't see it listed. But we'll ask him later. I'm going with. Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. I'm going with the Bills though. We'll see how that turns out. Being in the NFC East, I don't want either NFC East team to win except for for Dallas, of course, but I'm sure I'll pick an NFC East team other than them later. So I'm picking the Bills. Next, you got Texans and the Jaguars, AFC South. James, who do you got for that one?
Don't let me down, Jacksonville. CJ Stroud, he's been playing okay, but his offensive line isn't really helping him much. He's getting hurried and sacked a lot. Maybe Jacksonville has a bounce back day, but it won't be easy. That's for sure with Jacksonville. Give me the Jags.
Tim, who do you got?
Yeah, I've got the Jags. From what I saw last week, week 1, the Texans gave up 7 sacks. The week after, they gave up 6 to 7 sacks. At that rate, their quarterback is going to be dead by their bye week. If the Jags team that showed up against the Chiefs shows up against Texans, it's still Jaguars are going to win that game. But the Texans are work in progress. I've got the Jaguars.
Yeah, I got the Jaguars too on that one. I think that's, I wouldn't say a lot, but that's kind of a gimme because Houston has been playing okay, not to the potential of maybe most fans want to see. Jaguars have been up and down too, but I feel like they're the better of the two teams. And then our final early game, your Colts, Tim, against the Ravens. We'll start with you, Tim. Who you got for your game?
Well, this is another quarterback. This is another quarterback that may not last in this league for a different reason because he's got to learn to slide because that shot that he took in the second quarter of the Texans game literally scared the future out of me, and it's crazy. But we've got Gardner Minshew, we got Minshew mania. I'm not sure right now if Ryan Kelly is going to start because both of them are in protocol. I know Richardson's not starting because of concussion protocol. I'm not sure if Ryan Kelly's not going to start because of concussion protocol.
He's inactive.
He is inactive. So we've basically got a guy. We've got Gardner Minshew. Now, don't get me wrong, Gardner Minshew. I've got all the faith in the world for Gardner. I really thought he was going to start this season, at least the first 5-6 games. But we're still playing the Ravens. They may not have J.K. Dobbins, and they don't have Beckham Jr. But still, it's still the Ravens. It's still the Ravens defense, and it's still Lamar Jackson. I've got the Ravens.
James, who do you got?
Yeah, I have Baltimore. Yeah, I wanted to see Richardson, but yeah. That was a scary injury. But yeah, I think Lamar will have a good day running and then somewhat passing to Mark Andrews, maybe a couple touchdowns there. I got Ravens.
I got Ravens too. I'm making it my lock. Big B has Indy winning this game, which it's going to be an interesting game, I think. Battle of Baltimore, you could say. That kind of wraps up the early games in the late afternoon. Panthers in the Seahawks. Sarge will be at that game, helping out there. So we'll start with Tim. Who you got for that one?
Now, I want to make sure I'm right on this. Bryce, the Panthers quarterback is out. He's out.
Yes. Yes.
Will be Andy Dalton starting.
Oh, he's starting?
Yeah, Dalton is. That's why I wasn't sure. I've got the Seahawks. I still think, for some reason, they're riding off their high from last year. Carolina is just young. Not as young as the Packers, but they're young. I I think they're going to be there. I think they're going to keep up with them for a while, but I think the Seahawks are going to be too much.
James, who do you got?
I remember last year the Panthers went into Seattle late in the year and won with Sam Darnold. But I'm hoping the Seahawks defense this time, as young as they are, I hope they ball out. And I hope the offense gets going. Geno Smith had one of his best games in his career somehow last year or this year in Detroit. Last week, I should say. So I'm going to go Seattle, but they won't make it easy. I know that for sure.
Big B has Seahawks, but I got the Panthers. Dalton seems to win anytime he's a starter. Geno Smith's pretty good too, but I just feel like Dalton has more, experience. He's kind of that traveling quarterback. But I think it's going to be a fun game. I don't know if this next game is going to be fun, but it's going to be the Bears and the Chiefs. James, who do you got?
Oh, yeah. God. With all the things that have happened this last week in Chicago, equipment being stolen out Soldier Field. Yeah, it's Chicago. Justin Fields throwing his coaches under the bus and then saying, "Oh, no, I didn't really say that. I didn't mean that." The defensive coordinator leaving because of mental health reasons, maybe more. It's just an ugly, ugly week, and I wish this game wasn't really going on. But I'm going to go Kansas City in a rout. Hopefully you see the backup for Kansas City in at some point. I hope the Chiefs don't make it a game where, for them at least, where Mahomes has to play the whole game, where the starters have to. Maybe have this as a preseason game. This would be my lock for sure.
Okay. James, who do you got? Or Tim, who do you got?
My heart wants to go with the Bears just because of everything that's gone on. How much of a mess is right now in Chicago. But this is so easy. It's so easy to take the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. I wish it weren't so. And I've been bitten. I have taken the Bears in 2 straight weeks, and they have bitten me in the backside for 2 straight weeks, and I wasn't going to let it happen. And I'm so glad that the Chiefs were playing the Bears this week, so I didn't have to pick them. I've got the Chiefs too.
I do too. I got the Chiefs. Big B has the Chiefs. Before we move on, does anybody want to switch their pick with the Green Bay game?
No.
Nope.
You sure?
Because I know who. I know who.
Yeah.
I've got an inactive list, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
There's like an inactive list of Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, Jair Alexander, David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, and Anthony Jr.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. Next game, we have the Dallas Cowboys and the Cardinals. I got Dallas. Big B has Dallas. Tim, who do you got?
Yeah, I expect this to be a Dallas home game. All the fans that are from, California and Nevada and New Mexico and Arizona, I expect them all to be there and make it a blue and white crowd there. I think the Cowboys win. It probably won't be as easy as it seems. Cardinals play teams very tough. Dobbs and the defense. It's really good to see. At least they're trying. It's not like they're, showing that they're tanking. They're in games, as you saw last week and the week before too. But I think Cowboys have an abundance of talent. It's unfortunate with Travion Diggs getting hurt. That'll hurt him down the road. We'll see if they make a move. But I think Parsons will have a field day, maybe a pick or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. I'm going to go Cowboys at least by 10.
Tim?
Yeah, I have to agree there. I looked at this game and saw the Cardinals playing the Cowboys, and Cowboys are one of those teams like the Steelers and the Niners and the Packers who all travel well. Their fan base travels so well together. It's this is going to be if that game's not blue and silver in the indoors, it's somebody made a mistake. I completely agree with James. I think this game is it's going to be I think it's going to be bigger than 10 points. But like James said, the Cardinals have been playing everybody tough. They played the Commanders tough week one. They played tough last week. Yeah, I've got the Cowboys. They're just Cowboys are just a different monster.
Yeah, they are, but the Cardinals are always in games. They don't just sit around. I mean, yeah, they got Josh Dobbs, but I think it's going to be I wouldn't say close game, but they're going to score points. Cardinals will. Cowboys will score probably more, but that is it for the late afternoon games. Then we got our Sunday night game, Steelers and the Raiders. James's game. So, James, who do you got?
Man, this game used to mean a lot. You know, the rivalry of the 70s. Not much really after that, but I want to see if the Steelers can really, really wake up, especially their offense. Kenny Pickett seems like he regressed a little. There's a lot of hype on this team, especially on Pickett, but I got to see him throw the ball better. And then Najee Harris, it seems like he's the most patient runner, and that hurts him. He's the most slowest runner there is. Maybe he'll have a better day rushing. We'll see. But Warren took his spot, I believe. We were hoping for, I think, bigger things. At least the Steeler fans are hoping for bigger things. We'll see if, receivers could get the ball. Big part about this game is T.J. Watt and what he'll do against that Raider front. I know he's going to disrupt them. Hopefully for the Raiders, they show out, and this is their first home game of the season. I'm just like the Cowboy game. I am terrified, especially when the Raiders moved to Las Vegas. I thought, man, if the Raiders are a bad team, the road fans will really show up in droves. And I'm really thinking it's going to be, a lot of gold and black in the crowd, of course, but more the gold will definitely stand out, the yellow and those terrible towels. I'm going to go Pittsburgh, but, man, I hope it's a really close, entertaining game. I know nationally nobody wanted this, but I'm really happy to see the Raiders on prime time, especially against Pittsburgh. At least that'll bring back some, not memories, but because I didn't live through them, but at least some old footage. But, yeah, I'm going to go Steelers, maybe in a close one. I just don't trust the Raiders, and their defense still has some guys out that they really, really need up front. Yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh.
Tim, who do you got?
Can I pick a tie?
Yeah.
Because this is another one of those games that could be a tie. This one was a tough one. The quarter went back on it like 4, 5, 6 times. It wasn't short. No, I'm with James. I've got the Steelers. I think if there's a time where Pickett needs to show out, it's this game. I hate to see it to be against James's Raiders, but I know how it goes because I've had enough quarterbacks show out against the Colts. I hope I'm right. I just don't want it to be a tie, but I've got the Steelers.
I got the Steelers too. Big B, has the Raiders winning this game. Yeah, this used to be a good matchup, but I don't know. Raiders became bad. Steelers still were good, but it just hasn't been the same game as it was for many years. And then we have Monday Night Football. 2 Monday Night Football games. First up, Eagles and the Buccaneers. Tim, who do you got?
I've got Philly. For some reason, I don't like the Tampa Bay defense against this Eagles offense. They're a 5-point favorite going into Tampa, which usually means they're an 8-point favorite at home. Golly, yeah, that team is way too stacked to play against that defense. I like the Philadelphia Eagles.
James, who do you got for this one?
Both are 2-0. You know, the Bucks, they're playing really good, and no one had that. And Baker Mayfield, too. But I think they're going to run into a juggernaut, which are the Philadelphia Eagles. There should be a lot of green in the crowd as well. Yeah, I got Philadelphia. It's really good that this game is on ABC. It brings back, the times that these two probably last played on ABC, which was like 2003 or 2. They had a really, really fun game in Philadelphia. But I'm going to go Eagles. I think they have too much. I think Baker will get pressured a lot up front. They have a great front there in Philadelphia. So, yeah, I think the Eagles will be too much. But hopefully it's a close, entertaining game. I'm going to go Philly, though.
Yeah, I'm picking Philly too. Big B has Philly. Unfortunately, I picked Philly. I feel like they're, like y'all said, they're a better team. I'm not sure about Baker Mayfield with this Bucks offense, but it's Monday Night Football. Who knows? And then the Rams at the Bengals. Do we know if Burrow's playing? Because I know they signed 2 quarterbacks.
He's still questionable from what I'm seeing.
I don't think he'll play then. If he's questionable now, I don't know if he'll play.
Yeah, and this is a rematch of a Super Bowl.
Yeah. James, who do you got for that one? We'll start off with you.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a rematch of Super Bowl, but a year too late. That was a couple of years ago. Anyway, yeah, I don't trust the Bengals right now. There's a lot of questions. Was like, okay, maybe you should have set Joe Burrow, the first couple of weeks, and then have him come back against a later schedule. But they have a really, well, I don't want to say easy schedule, but opponents that are under 500, they have a good schedule right here for the next 3 weeks. But you can't take the Rams lightly right now. I think they're out to prove that they're not as bad as what they seem. Puka Nakua is really, really good the first 2 games, the rookie receiver. I expect him to have a really good game. Matthew Stafford, I think, want to show that, hey, he's not really as hurt as he seems, and he'll air it out. I'm going to go with the Rams here.
Tim, who do you got?
Yeah, I just changed my pick from the Bengals to the Rams. It's because it's the Joe Burrow injury. If you can't if you can't put your finger on if he's going to start or not, and I'll wake up on Tuesday morning and everybody say, "Oh, look what Joe Burrow did. He was healthy enough and he played." And I'm like, I don't want to wake up on those mornings.
Yeah.
So I changed it. I changed it from the Bengals to the Rams. I've got the Rams too.
I got the Rams too. Big B has the Bengals though. And I'm sure. I don't know. I feel like Burrow wants to play, but I heard that they might sit him, like take the guesswork out of it and say, I know you want to play, but we can't risk it. And if the Rams do win, it became a curse, and then they just lifted that curse by beating the team they were cursed with in the Super Bowl afterwards. Because after that Super Bowl, they just fell downhill. Both teams did, actually. Should be an interesting game. And that was our game picks. Take them or leave them. I don't know. Now we got the primetime top 5. Who you got for your Tim?
So I thought I'm looking at this going how many quarterbacks we've lost, and I figured why not go ahead and just shoot it right now and just say quarterbacks, top quarterbacks who replace great quarterbacks due to injury. So my number 5.
1.
Yeah, you got number 1. All right, I got at my number 5. I've got Jimmy Garoppolo for Tom Brady. I went back through the years and I made sure that and all these quarterbacks that ended up replacing were actually replaced somebody that was actually really good. And still, to me, and I think the reason why I put Jimmy on this list is because he's still playing in the league. He's still, where's he at now? Now I make that comment.
I thought he was with the Raiders.
Raiders.
Raiders. I I say it and then I keep forgetting where everybody's at. But it was Tom Brady, and then it just seemed like Garoppolo picked up right where Tom Brady left off. I thought it was right. Then I went my number 4. I went Steve Young for Joe Montana. If you look at Joe Montana's career, he was a Hall of Famer before he got injured. And then you got Steve Young who came in and replaced Joe Montana. And now you look at Steve Young and Joe Montana, both of them are in the Hall of Fame. My number 3 is Brett Favre coming in for Don Majkowski. Don Majkowski at that time was top 10 quarterback in the league. He comes in, replaces it, gets hurt in the Bengals game, and then Brett Favre comes in, and basically the rest is history. Then you got Phillip Rivers coming in for Drew Brees. You got, again, we're talking Hall of Famer coming in for Hall of Famer at this point. And it seemed like they picked up, and that's where it gave Drew Brees the opportunity to leave and go somewhere else. And I'm guessing that Bacon's thinks my number 1 is probably this one, Tom Brady for Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Remember, Bledsoe had taken that team so far that they were on the pretty much going to the playoffs. They already had been to the Super Bowl once with Drew Brees. And then Drew Brees. Did I say Drew Brees? That's why it happens when I put Drew on there twice. But Bledsoe was getting ready to take that team to the playoffs in the AFC Championship or the AFC East Championship, and then we had then Tom Brady does what he does again, and then history is history.
Yeah, I always felt bad for Drew Brees. Drew Bledsoe, because he did it with Brady. He did it with Romo. He had to do it twice. James, what do you think of the list? Any names you want to put in there?
Man. Well, I think he took all the Hall of Fame for Hall of Famers, but I can think of Washington back in the day with Theismann, and then it was Doug Williams. Kurt Warner for Eli Manning in 2004. Definitely not Brady to Baker Mayfield. Definitely not that. Let's see. Warner for Mark Bulger. No. Maybe Jared Goff and then Matthew Stafford. Maybe in the future that's one, but I doubt it. I can think of, when you think about the Chargers, you go from Rivers to Justin Herbert. That's really good there. I'm thinking of the Raiders, but they haven't had, other from Stabler. I guess you'd go Daryl LaMonica to Ken Stabler. That's one.
You could have went Blanda, but you could have went Blanda to LaMonica too.
Yeah, that's true too.
I thought a little bit from like Archie Manning to Warren Moon in Houston.
Yeah. Tennis. I'm thinking of the Titans, the Oilers, but I think McNair to Vince Young, but no.
No. You could have gone, but then that way you could have gone Warren Moon to Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say Flacco? Flacco to Jackson, or Jackson to Flacco?
Yeah, you could have gone that way too.
Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh man, yeah, I forget that one.
Rodgers to Love.
Maybe
that could possibly be. Who's else am I thinking? Dave Craig to Mark to Dan McGuire. No, that's not right either.
Brian Sipe to Bernie Kosar.
I forgot all about Brian Sipes.
The only reason I knew of him because he threw the pass when all they could have done was go for a field goal, and the Raiders intercepted it in 1980, and they went on to win the Super Bowl, and Cleveland was in misery.
Right.
After that, it's like, the Cowboys, I guess you go Romo and Dak, but we'll see how that ends up.
could have went if you went Seattle, you could have went Jim Zorn to Dave
Dave
Craig.
Craig, yeah.
You could have also went Garoppolo to Lance to Purdy.
Culpepper to not Culpepper. Cunningham, Farrat to Culpepper, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the list can go on and on and on.
Let's go a mile.
Yeah. But with that, I don't think there's anything else. Final thoughts, Tim?
Thanks for everybody for watching. James, are you going to make this a regular thing if you can wake up?
I'm hoping so. Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of shocked by the last topic. I was like, wait, what are we doing? So hopefully I'll get in earlier and get in there. And I like going through the history of the game almost more than the present of the game and the future.
Right.
So that was cool. I want to do something like that again. So thank you for having me on, y'all.
Cool. Thanks for being on.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Enjoy week 3. And next week begins week 4 with the London game.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the Bills and the Jaguars. So
It's the Falcons and the Jaguars.
Falcons and Jaguars.
Yep.
So we get maybe score updates there and then our game predictions and all of that. So with that, have a great week. Enjoy your football Sunday and Monday. And we'll see you guys next week.